So I don't know what you guys' thoughts are. Atlanta or Minnesota, if you had to put your money where your mouth is and you had to take Minnesota Vikings to win by more than 3.5 points, or the Vikings to win by more than 3.5 points, or the Falcons to lose by less than 3.5 points or win, I don't think I would bet that game. So I'm personally not touching. I'm not touching that line. I think it's going to be a good game, and they're in the dome in Minnesota. I definitely think it's going to be a good game. I wouldn't bet it if I were you. Washington Redskins and Philadelphia Eagles. So the interesting piece about this line right here, so it's obviously the Eagles are at home and favored to win by -10. The interesting part about this line is that Vegas only thinks that the combined scoring of the game is going to be equal to 44.5 points. So they don't think that this is going to be a high-scoring game. It's not one of the lowest-scoring games this week, but for a team to have to win by 10 or more points and have the over and under at like 40, that's obviously not great. There's not great odds that would happen. If I had to bet this game, I definitely like the Eagles in this game. I think that the Redskins are not going to be good. I don't think that they're going to have a great game. I think the Eagles could definitely win by 2 scores. I'd probably be willing to take the risk on that as well. So I would definitely take the Eagles in that matchup. However, I'm not betting money on that game. I already have my money on 3 games for tomorrow. I'll tell you those when we get there. Bills Jets, definitely not touching that game. Over under of 41. The Jets are favored to win by 2.5, and the Bills are plus 2.5. So the interesting part is that there's a bunch of people that are betting the over on 38.5, which is why the lines move up to 41. I don't understand how anyone would think that this is going to be a high-scoring game between these two offenses. But for a team to win like 23-20, that's not a super high-scoring game, and that would still cover that line. So I guess I can understand that. As far as like betting the spread of 2.5 points, I don't want any of those two teams. I definitely do not believe that would be in my best interest to bet either of the two of those. I'm not confident in who's going to win that game. Now, of these down here, this is where it gets juicy. You got Baltimore Ravens in Miami, favored to win by 6.5, and Vegas says over/under is 40 points. So you mean to tell me that you don't think that the Baltimore Ravens are going to score 3 touchdowns and the Miami Dolphins are going to score 2 touchdowns and kick 2 field goals? Like, that seems really low to me. So I'm not taking the over/under. It seems like it would be a really, really low game. A really, really low over/under. I don't think there's any way that happens that way. But I'm taking the Baltimore Ravens. I think that Baltimore is going to absolutely go in there and just destroy Miami in their own house. Miami's team is in such disarray right now. They just traded Tunzel. They just traded Kenny Stills. They traded, Juwan James in the offseason to the Denver Broncos. I don't think their team's going to be good this year at all. I would be surprised if they won like more than 3 or 4 games this season, and I do not think that this is one of them. So I'm all over that line. 6.5. Baltimore Ravens. Lock it in. This one right here is another one that's kind of one of those toss-up lines. We already talked about it on the Pick'ems, but 49ers against the Buccaneers. Vegas has the over/under at 51, so they obviously think this is going to be a high-scoring game as well. It's going to be a shootout. Like, neither of these two teams have good defenses. So this is a best-case scenario for fantasy players. If you own Chris Godwin, if you own Mike Evans, who, depending on whether or not he plays, if you own O.J. Howard, start all of those guys in this game, because there's going to be a lot of scoring going down. If you own Matt Breida, if you own Tevin Coleman, and if you own George Kittle, start all 3 of those guys too, because I think that they're going to score a bunch of points in that game. Moving down here a little bit, we got the Kansas City Chiefs against the Jags in Jacksonville, and the current line is at 3. It opened at 4. I think I got it at 3.5. I took the Chiefs here. Now, this might be a trap because the Chiefs do not have a good defense. The Jacksonville Jaguars do. But and the last time that they played, Jacksonville actually made the game much closer than everybody thought it was going to be. But I took the Kansas City Chiefs in this game, so I think that they're going to put up a ton of points. I'm just hoping that they can stop Foles and the Jags and force a couple turnovers and get up a score or two would be great. Definitely betting on that one. And going down here, we got the Tennessee Titans, Cleveland Browns, over-under at 45. Hasn't really moved since it opened. The line was at 45.5, and it's still at 45, so it's moved a half a point down. Like a couple of people have bet, the under on 45.5, which is obviously why the lines moved down. Spread stayed exactly the same. I like Cleveland to win this game. I really do. I think that the Titans have a good defense. I don't know that it's going to be able to contain all the firepower that's in that Cleveland offense, but I'm still really skeptical because the Browns hype train has left the station, and I want to see it in action before I bet on it. So I really think that Cleveland cleans up the Titans in this game, but I'm not going to bet on it until I see what this new Cleveland offense looks like. So we'll use this as kind of like a benchmark to be able to see whether or not they're going to be a team that I'm going to bet on in week 2. But definitely keeping a close eye on that game. Coming down here, we've got the Rams at home in Carolina against the Panthers. Game opened at -3 and 51 as the over-under, so they think it's going to be a pretty high-scoring affair. The game is now at a -2 and a 49.5 under. So people are betting the under when this opened at 51 and -3. People are betting under 51 combined points, and they're betting under 3 points for the Rams. So they're betting that the Panthers are actually going to win that game, which isn't a bad pick. But I don't think there's any way that the Rams can go into that game and lose. However, I'm not willing to bet on it because I have some action on the side on Carolina being a potential Super Bowl contender. So I would be okay with Carolina winning. I don't want to bet on that game at all. But if I was a betting man, I'd probably bet on the Rams on the road. Moving down here to the bottom. Got a couple more matchups here. 325 games. Lions against the Cardinals. So we have... We've got, let's see, it opened at Detroit Lions -2.5. What's up, Tito? How we doing today, buddy? Also opened at 48 combined points for the Cardinals. So the Lions stayed exactly the same on point spread, still -2.5 for the Lions. And the over-under is down to 45.5. So people are actually betting the under on 48 points. On this to say that they think that the combined total between these two teams is going to be less than 48 points. So this is another one that I'm not betting. Both these teams did not play very well last year. They didn't finish very high. It seemed like they were towards the bottom of the league contenders, and were more so contending for a draft pick than they were a playoff spot or even a potential win. So I kind of want to see them duke it out. If I had to bet this, I'd probably bet the Cardinals +2.5, but I don't like this game enough to bet it. And then going down to the bottom here, we got a 3:05 game. So I don't come in. I have to make homework and start in the school. Oh, that's okay. Homework and school is important, Tito. Make sure you do that first. The stream will always be here, man. I'm not worried. Homework in school takes priority, for sure. Looking at this game, the Seahawks actually opened at -8, and over-under at 43.5. So the over-under's moved up, so people are betting the over on 43.5, and people are also betting the Seahawks are going to win this, so the line's up to 9.5 right now. I like the Seahawks in this one. I think that Cincinnati is another one of those dumpster fire teams this year. No AJ Green. They're missing a couple pieces of their offensive line. And, Joe Mixon's going to be getting the heat in the backfield from Jadeveon Clowney. I'm all on the Seahawks bandwagon to win this one at 9.5. It's kind of a big spread. If you got it at 8, much better. But either way, definitely taking the Seahawks in this one. Going down towards the bottom here, we have the Indianapolis Colts against the LA Chargers. It's at home in LA for the Chargers. And obviously this game's changed a ton because it was initially projected with Andrew Luck starting. He then decided he was going to retire. He's not playing football anymore. Probably will come back in like 2 years when he's finally rehabbed and stuff. Mark my words. You heard it here first. But opened at -3 and 47.5, and is currently at 44.5 and -6.5. Jacoby Brissett is probably one of the better backups in the league. Like, he might be the best backup quarterback in the league. And he's kind of on that fringe between like backup and actually starting caliber quarterback. So it makes me a little bit nervous that the line's at 6.5, and I would probably bet the Chargers to win this game. But I have a feeling that there's some sort of like trap line here where maybe Jacoby Brissett just goes off this week, or they get up to an early lead and then they control the clock with Marlon Mack. I'm not sure. I do like that line a lot. I would take the Chargers for sure. I wouldn't take anything over 7 on that particular game, but I like the Chargers line a lot. I just have a feeling that there's some sort of trap on there or something. Moving down here, we got the New York Giants against the Cowboys. Opened at 46 total points. Dallas Cowboys are favored to win by 7. The line is pretty much the same now. A couple of people bet the under, I guess, because the line is now at 45.5. And the Cowboys are -7 still. So if I had to pick a team to win here, I'm taking Dallas at home all day. With the Zeke stuff ironed out, with Amari Cooper supposedly healthy and working on a new contract deal, I think that the Cowboys are going to blow the Giants out of the water. So would definitely take a stab at the Cowboys at a -7 line. I wouldn't take 7.5 just because there's unnecessary risk on having over a touchdown on what they're actually gonna win by. But I like the Cowboys -7. And then you go down to the bottom picks on here. You got Steelers and Patriots. Line opened at a 51 total points. Is now down to a 49. So people are betting the under on 51. And the Patriots were initially favored to win by 6 and are now favored to win by 5.5 at home. So my money's on the Patriots to win this game for sure. They don't really lose in Foxborough. Like Belichick and Brady and all of them just have the entire Foxborough Stadium like figured out. They have it figured out. I would never bet against the Patriots at home. I don't care what the circumstances. I don't care if the Patriots aren't favored to win, or you get a +10 line on whoever. It doesn't matter. Like, I'm not. Moral of the story: golden rule: do not bet against the Patriots at Foxborough. So, if you're a betting man, the only side of this line that you can take is the New England Patriots. 5.5 line. Antonio Brown's not playing. They've got a new running back in there. Josh Gordon's back. I'm not really sure what the team's going to look like. I'm not going to bet the game. That's pretty much what it comes down to. If there are any variables that I feel like I'm not comfortable with, being the first week of the season, the only information that I have to go off is prior year's data. Okay, I can't bet it. But that's pretty much where we're at for the against the spread picks this week. Just wanted to share that with all you guys. And if you have any questions or anything like that, make sure you let me know. And if you're not subscribed to the YouTube channel, !YouTube in the Twitch chat, and get a link to it. I drop against the spread picks every week, waiver wire pickups, streaming defenses, and stardom sit-ems we're going to do on Saturday nights at 7 p.m. So that's all I got. Good luck tomorrow.